Joe! Joe の野郎。鬼姫が完全にぶっ潰しやがって。
Oh my god. Hello everyone, welcome to Joe Consumes Cinema. I'm your host, Secret Weapon, and today we have Ashita no Joe, episode 71. So we should be getting the events, the fight between Nango, the number 2 in Bantamweight, and Carlos Rivera. We saw a little bit of Carlos, him in action. He has power, he's very fast and agile. And yeah, he seems to be a little bit bigger than Joe, but that's, par for the course it seems. Joe is a natural bantamweight. This guy, probably more realistically, a featherweight that cuts down to bantamweight. Like, he's a bigger dude, and you can tell just, standing side by side. But yeah, with the events of last episode and, the conversation with Yoko, he's very much fixated on Joe, knows that eventually they're going to be fighting. So, he's trying to get acquainted with him, learn about him, and yeah, he's taking him more and more seriously the more he learns about Joe, and it's to be expected. So I'm hoping we get the fight between Nango and Carlos this episode. In fact, we almost 100% will. And then right after that, hopefully Joe is done with this underground boxing circuit thing and just goes back to, Namada Bridge and reunites with everybody, and we can actually get to Joe actually pursuing this thing for real, no hang-ups, no, whatever, just 100% all in, and, we get some cool fights. But yeah, I'm eager to get to this one, so let's just get right to it. Sando Bagani Kao Mega Ke Tatake 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 Ashita wa Kito Ashita wa Dochita.
もし君が私の思っているような男だとしたら、その秘密兵器を見破れるはずだ。Good luck, Joe.
世界バンタム級6位。この戦慄は一体何だ?
Carlos, the Uncrowned Emperor.
ものがよくわかってる河野さんが試合をちゃんと見れるようにテレビを買ってくださるとよ。
That's a nice compromise.
買いますともすんごいテレビよね。
So you might not see it live, but at least he's still going to get to see it. Quick reminder to like, comment, share, subscribe. Also consider signing up for my Patreon. For $1 per month, you get access to all my exclusive reactions, also a guaranteed movie request. With that, let's get right back to the reaction.
みなちゃん、ってなわけだ。試合が始まったら必ず声をかけてくれよな。頼むぜ。
カーロス・リベラは一説には南米随一の実力を誇りながら上位ランカーが恐れをなして対戦を下げているために
It sometimes happens when, there's some rare talent that's working their way up through the ranks that everybody higher than him decides to duck his ass out of fear. It's rare, but it does happen.
Joe, テレビが始まるぞ。
はいよ。じゃあこちとら立て込んでるんでね。この辺でごめんなさい。
Yep, got him out of there.
じゃあ頼みます、カーロス。
Okay, okay, 任しといてください。誰にもわからないように、おそらく矢吹以外は見破ることができない。
Maybe something from Joe's past? I don't know. The secret weapon could be like anything. It's pretty wild.
なんだよこいつ、世界6位なんて言いながらよ、ただ振り回してるだけだぜ。まったくだ。
Well, he won the first round mostly just due to activity. I don't think he landed anything clean. Is he fighting like Joe has been?
打つには打ったが南郷の硬いブロックに阻まれて有効ではありません。第一、あの大振りはカーロスの方が南郷よりはるかにスタミナを消耗させられてますよ。
カーロス、足を止めてはダメだ。回って回って。
It's all just a ruse.
止めなよ、結託悪い。
面白くねえな。
どうやら評判倒れくせえぜ、あの世界6位の先生は。
I am going to enjoy seeing his face get smashed when he unleashes whatever this is.
何もビクつくたねえよ。思い切ってけ、思い切ってな。
Yeah, here comes the setup.
日本ボクシング界を甘く見た結果でしょうな。
クリンチパンチ食ってちゃダメ。
あと3分したらおめえは世界ランキング入りだぜ。ポイントの上では圧倒的リードだ。
Alright, enough of this charade. Kill this motherfucker.
まあ見ててくださいよ。それよりね、試合が終わったらランキング入りのお祝いを。
Here we go. Uppercut. Yeah, adios, Nango. Looked like 2 uppercuts.
その針の穴ほどのわずかな隙をついてカーロス・リベラ南郷に接近しておりました。
ない。
His teeth are broken.
ラッキーパンチが当たって私勝つ。ありがとう皆さん。ありがとうラッキー。
You good luck。全くカーロスにとってはラッキーとしか言いようのないパンチです。
違う。何がラッキーパンチだもんかい。なあ、見てだろ。奴の二段肘打ちを。
あ、二段肘打ち
Elbow blow.
奴は十分狙いを定めて南郷に打ち込んだ時、パンチを打つとその腕を滑らせて肘がもう一度パンチの後をえぐり込んだんだ。おまけにそいつを往復打ったんだ。だから南郷は一度に4発もパンチを打ったことになるんだ。
Didn't even see it in the animation.
日本チャンピオンだってなんだってズタボロになっちまわ。稲ちゃん見たかい。
いや、俺にもラッキーとしか見えなかった。
この勝利を誰に一番知らせたいですか？
ジョー・ヤブキニです。
That was cool. Nothing will rile up Joe more than that.
カーロス選手は次に日本バンタム級第1位天王寺ジム所属の花島選手と対戦します。
ラッキーパンチさえ気ぃつけとったら世界ランキング入り中ありがたいご褒美がつくことになるんやさかいな。
Not seeing through the con.
それさえ食わなければ世界ランク入りだと客を釣り相手選手を作る。それでがっぽり稼ごうって算段かい。
Yeah, it is a smart setup.
カーロス、俺は見たぜ。おめえの秘密兵器ってやつをよ。
Oh yeah. Books. Okay, took some time just to gather my thoughts. Episode 71, we get the fight between Carlos Rivera and Nango, the number 3. And, you know, they're just using it as an opportunity to kind of underwhelm the Japanese audience to, you know, give them a false sense of security that this guy, despite the fact that he's number 6 in the world, really isn't all he's cracked up to be. Like, they purposefully sandbagged it, and he's losing round after round after round, and looking like he's in trouble, like, you know, he doesn't know what to do. But really, he's just, you know, creating this atmosphere where he can set up this, you know, quote-unquote lucky punch that is not a lucky punch. He planned that the entire time. And it kind of depresses, you know, all the hype that surrounds him and allows him to more easily get fights with the other Japanese fighters, you know, the higher ranks, and, you know, slowly move up the rankings. He's probably got another plan to do something similar in the next fight against this Hiroshima guy. So it looked like in the beginning of the episode, Joe was going to finally quit the troupe, but he just wanted a day to go watch the fight. And then, you know, the manager trying to, you know, bring him back in because, you know, he's the main attraction. Without him, you know, they're basically screwed. They do a little compromise where, you know, the manager gets a TV, and that way Joe can actually watch the fight. As soon as he gets word that Carlos is about to start fighting, the guy he's in the ring with, he just, you know, knocks him out with one punch and then jumps out the ring. He's fixated on him and wants to see this secret weapon. All the other guys around him are like, could you turn this off? This is a boring fight. Like, I don't know why you're so like, fixated on this. This is nothing. Like, this cardless guy is clearly overhyped, you know, that kind of thing. And then he hits him with the actual secret weapon. The very last round, Nango is up, like, 10-1 in the cards, probably even a little bit more. And the second the bell rings for the final round, he bolts out of his corner and just goes and cracks him. It looked like an uppercut to me when I first saw the animation, but then the rewind, you know, the replay on the TV showed it looked like a right and left straight, but every time he would follow through with the punch, he would catch him with the point of the elbow at the same time. So his fist would hit, and then he'd follow through and then hit him with the elbow. And by the end of it, Nango dropped, you know, didn't move at all, got counted out to 10, and his teeth were smashed, so he took some serious hits. So those 2 punches and I guess 2 elbows, and then he was just down and, you know, didn't move after that. They carried his ass out on the stretcher. That was very fun to watch. I like seeing that guy get beat to a pulp. But yeah, Yoko is very intelligent. These two, both Carlos and his manager Robert, are also pretty intelligent. They're playing a game here, but, you know, they're in for the kind of like long haul here. Carlos, despite the fact that he's ranked 6 in the world, has had trouble getting, you know, fights with these higher ups. which explains why he was willing to come to Japan to actually work with Yoko. Because otherwise, it's like, hey, you have nothing to offer me here. You don't have anyone even remotely in the top 10. Maybe the Japanese champion is like around that level, but like for a fighter that's trying to progress and, really get his name out there and, just, fight for a world title, coming to Japan under these circumstances doesn't make a whole lot of sense given where, the belt situation globally and, where it is right now in Japan. It just doesn't line up. So I'm guessing she basically promised him that if he helps her deal with this Ibuki Joe situation, she will help him get this title shot. And, they got to kind of do this song and dance where, it doesn't look like he's as good as he really is. So all the Japanese rankers are still willing to take fights with him. And probably the champ is in the same, boat too, Tiger Ozaki. And yeah, it just looks like he's going to progress and set this thing up where he throws, that trick shot and then people don't catch on and think, oh, he just got lucky again. And then, it just goes on to the next one. He's probably going to be challenging the bantamweight champion within like a fight or two, just doing this. Nango was 3. I'm guessing this Hiroshima guy is 2. So then, yeah, probably just getting to him pretty quick at that point. But at some point, the jig is going to be up. Once is like, okay, believable lucky punch. Twice in a row? No, something more is going on. So I think people will figure it out. Joe already has, and yeah, he's very motivated. So it seems like very soon we're going to be ditching the underground boxing troupe and getting back to the real stuff. And yeah, I'm very eager to get to it. I'm going to get to the next episode right now. So as always, thanks for watching, and peace.